In order for us to enable offshore wind to be delivered at lowest cost and in a smooth fashion, so we don't have temporary setbacks like we've had in some countries in 2022 and 23, we think 5 things are important. First, it's very important for governments to set out a clear strategic vision of the pace of the growth of the offshore wind industry and to set out in advance a schedule of the auctions for capacity that they will be bringing forward. That creates certainty against which business can develop supply chains. Secondly, there are some specific issue of auction contracts which we should change to try and reduce the phenomenon of people bidding in a contract but then pulling out. And in a sense, the changes we need are a bit of a sort of deal with the industry. One thing that the industry might automatically like, one thing which they might not like so much. It's a balanced deal. The positive side for the industry is introducing inflation indexation, so that if we get an unanticipated increase in inflation, the contract price can go up with that. But as a trade-off for that and a flip side of that, we think there should be less flexibility for people once they have bid to pull out of that commitment. We need strong commitments on the basis of contracts which enable a reasonable rate of profit for the developer. Thirdly, we need to streamline the processes for planning and permitting and getting grid connections. It simply takes too long at the moment to get through the planning and permitting process for offshore wind and indeed onshore wind development and to get grid connections. Across the world, bottlenecks in grid connections are a major barrier to renewable energy rollout, and we need to fix those as best possible. Fourthly, a tricky one this, we need to try and get as much harmonization and standardization of turbine and other inputs. One of the challenges is almost the challenge of a good thing. Turbine sizes are going up and up and up. And as turbine sizes go up and up and up, you get greater efficiency. But if they go up very rapidly, you can have a supply chain which hasn't adjusted to deal with that. Or you can have problems in manufacturing, that the quality of those turbines has not really been sorted out before they were launched in the market. So there are a set of things that auction structures and the industry can do to say, look, we're not going to give up on rising turbine size. That's a good thing. But let's try and have some contracts and some relationships and coordination within the industry so that that occurs at a steady process rather than with sudden surges. And then finally, I think there is a role for government in recognizing that there may be very specific supply chain bottlenecks in offshore wind that they can help overcome and that the industry can help overcome. If we are reliant on particular port handling facilities or shipping facilities to support the installation of very big turbines, if we need a greater capacity in the installation industry that puts in place these very large structures in the middle of the sea, there is a role for government, without picking winners and getting over-interventionists, to say this is precisely the sort of things where governments can step in and provide targeted subsidy support or enable coordination between the industry, among the industry, to make sure that these very specific supply chain bottlenecks don't stand in the way of the growth we need.